Today we're talking about books 21 through 25, I think. I'm gonna go with that. The Last Flight of Poxl West by Daniel Torday. This book is about Poxl West, who releases a memoir, and because of this memoir, he is now considered a Jewish war hero, and because of this, he has skyrocketed to fame very quickly. It's also told from the point of view of Poxl's nephew Eli, who looks up to Poxl so much. Eli grew up listening to Poxl tell him all of these stories that are now in this memoir, and when the memoir is released, he's constantly telling everyone around him about Poxl, how that's his uncle and he's so proud. And then shortly after Poxl rises to fame, we are hit with the sad fact that the memoir actually is not completely true, and a lot of the events that took place are in fact lies. Poxl essentially just disappears off the face of the earth because people are outraged and they're furious that what he wrote was a lie. And then we're left with Eli, who has to deal with the aftermath. Everything he thought he knew about Poxl has come into question. I really enjoyed this book, but I did have quite a few problems with it. While I found the writing to be actually quite beautiful, I could not connect with these characters at all. And I'm not sure if it's because I felt the story wasn't fleshed out well enough, because it is quite a short book. But even if a book is short, it doesn't necessarily have to be long for me to connect with the characters. I just felt these characters to be not completely believable. And the reason for that is because this book has Poxl's memoir in it, and you're reading this memoir as you're reading the rest of the story. His memoir felt so flat, it lacked so much emotion, and it really made me question how in this book people loved it so much, and that it became this big old bestseller, and that just because of this, people viewed him as this war hero. I could not connect to that at all, because in his memoir, he is kind of a jerk, and he's not the nicest guy, and because of one event that took place in this memoir, people are just loving him. It did not feel believable, and I did not like it for that. It's been a couple weeks since I've read this book now, and I still do not know if I like it or if I don't like it. I have a feeling that it's one of those meh books. I would say if you do like historical fiction, you would probably like this book. Maybe give it a chance if you're interested. After that, I read Dr. Mutter's Marvels by Cristin Aptowicz. This is a biography on Dr. Thomas Mutter, who was a doctor in the early 1800s. This book was wonderful and bittersweet, and I did not want it to end. I don't know a lot about medicine, but I really enjoyed learning about where modern medicine started in America and how Thomas really played a huge part during that time. Thomas grew up as an orphan, and then he studied medicine in Paris. Later on, he comes back to Philadelphia to work as a doctor, and he is not getting a lot of patients. He is really struggling to work. He ends up becoming a teacher at a medical school in Philadelphia. At the school, along with a lot of his colleagues, they all create such a big impact on medicine as a whole, and it was such an interesting thing to learn about how the teachers would perform operations on conscious patients in front of these giant classrooms full of students. Reading about that, it somewhat made me cringe, but also admire the fact that Mutter was able to perform these operations in front of this full classroom of students, stay calm, give a lecture, and complete the operation with a success. In this book, you get to learn a lot about the medical school and also about all of the colleagues that Mutter has during this time, and I really liked that I got to learn about all of this because it painted this broader picture that I didn't think I was gonna get. This book was also very sad because Mutter grew up sick. He was sick since he was a child, and to see his health rapidly decline over the years was extremely depressing because he just wanted to keep helping his patients and to continue lecturing and inspiring his students, and to see him not be able to do that and to eventually have to stop was so sad. He was written as such an inspiring person, and for someone that was doing so much good to have their life ended so quickly was extremely sad and left me sad. After that, I read the second giant bind-up of The Walking Dead, which I don't have anymore because I gave it back to my boss, but I will put a picture here. I have good news and I have bad news. The good news is I liked it more than the first bind-up. Yes, great. Although I think the main reason for that is because most of the characters that I didn't like are now dead. So the bad news is that I have come to terms with the fact that I don't think I like The Walking Dead. And I'm talking about the books, not the show. The books are extremely addicting and they're fast-paced and I fly through them. My biggest problem that I've noticed with the books is that I feel that the storyline keeps repeating itself in a way. The group of people go somewhere that's safe, then things turn to crap, people die, and they move somewhere else and the cycle continues. That's happened 3 or 4 times now and it's really annoying me. I feel as if I'm reading the same thing over and over again and it makes me not want to read them anymore because I don't want to read the same thing over and over again. The dialogue in these books still make me cringe. The only characters I think I actually like are Carl and Rick, and I'm so angry at the fact that this is a zombie apocalypse. There are zombies trying to kill you. So I feel as if the last thing you should be worried about is if someone likes you or doesn't like you. If someone is sleeping with someone else, you should be trying to survive, trying to find a cure, trying to kill all the zombies. Maybe go try to find the last Twinkies because they're gonna expire soon. I don't know. I feel like I'm watching a soap opera. I don't like soap operas. After that, I read The Rum Diary by Hunter S. Thompson. Look at that gorgeous cover. Isn't it beautiful? This book is about a writer who moves to Puerto Rico to work as a journalist. Not much happens in this book except this character getting drunk, doing stupid things, regretting them, and then repeating the cycle over and over and over again. I feel as if this book had a really good message that it kept throwing in your face. These characters kept talking about how they hated their lives, they did not like their jobs, they wanted to drop it all, move somewhere else, and start anew. Except it was just all talk, and they never actually acted upon that. They kept just getting drunk and making stupid decisions. And that really annoyed me, but then it also made me appreciate this book in a way because I feel as if that's almost realistic. A lot of people hate their jobs, but do they actually do anything about it? No, they stay with what they're doing because that's what they're comfortable with, that's what they're used to, and they're not gonna go and throw everything away. But overall, I found this book to be very meh and nothing special. The only reason why I read it was because the person on this cover. I will watch the movie because Johnny Depp, but I did not really enjoy this book. It's just meh. And the last book that I'm going to talk about is The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Before reading this, I'd never read any Hemingway before, so this was quite exciting for me. I think a lot of people could read this book and find it very boring and not care the slightest about it, but this book overall is about a man trying to catch a fish, but it is so much more than that. This old man hasn't caught a fish in so long, and he's trying to prove not only to himself but to everyone else that he's still capable of being that fisherman that he once was. I love how this book is so short and yet it is able to delve into so much in such a short amount of time. This book also throws some religious elements in there, and if you're paying attention you might catch that, which I thought was really interesting. I really enjoyed all the messages this book was throwing at you, but what I enjoyed the most about this book was that it threw me back in time. It threw me to a specific moment. Growing up, I used to go fishing with my dad a lot. When I was 8 or 9, I caught my first fish and it was a striper. We were out at a reservoir with my dad's friend and we each had our setup right in the boat. So I'm sitting there, calm, relaxed, enjoying the sun, when my pole gets a hit. And I grab the pole like an idiot, taking it out of its holder. I'm 8 or 9. I'm small, okay? The fish tugs again, and I almost get flung out of the boat. Had my father's friend not been there and grabbed me at that last split second, I would have been flung out of the boat, dead. Not dead, but you know. By this point, I'm still holding onto the pole for dear life. With the help of my father and his friend, they set me back down and they pretty much tell me, Erica, you're going to catch this fish. You have to do this. And all of a sudden it was as if something switched and it was just me and this giant ass fish, and I was just determined and I was going to catch this fish, and this fish and me were going to duke it out and I was going to win, and I caught the fish. I caught the fish. And I don't know where I was going with that story, but this book made me think of that moment in time, and for that, I appreciate this book. And those are books 21 through 25 that I have read recently. If you've read any of these, leave your thoughts and opinions down below. We could chit chat, yada yada yada, you know what to do, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!